Welcome back to Naval News, everybody. Today we're going to cover where the U.S. fleet is deployed around the globe. As you can see here, we have many fleets in training, on deployment at the same time, and one carrier in refit in Japan right now. Let's break these down for you. We're going to begin by counting the total Navy battle force as of today is up to 297 units. They've added the Ghost Fleet, the two ships from the Ghost Fleet, the Nomad, and the other unmanned rover that is alongside Nomad, to the fleet. They are being deployed this year in the Pacific with our probably next battle group. We'll see which one it actually gets deployed with, but we expect to see unmanned ships patrolling along with our manned ships for the first time ever. This is going to be a great moment in naval history. So let's begin in Yokosuka, Japan. This is where the Ronald Reagan is going through its annual refit. Those like a winter refit that's almost finished with now, and then they'll do a deployment later on this year, usually in the summertime. And we'll be following that as they go. Here's a picture of someone in the cone of silence here. This is Aviation Bosun's Mate Fuel. Second class Noel Soko from Hawaii is fitted with a chemical, biological, and radioactive CBR protective mask. And here he is. As you can see, he's wearing the mask itself, and then over that is a cover as well that he can see through. So he's expected to be able to do his duties and operate in these conditions here. Not comfortable, but functional. All right, the USS Ronald Reagan is in port in Japan, conducting its annual winter maintenance, following a 5-month deployment it did to the Middle East and Pacific last year. Employees of Puget Sound Naval Shipyard and Intermediate Maintenance Facility from Norfolk are over in Japan now, assisting Japanese workers in the maintenance of the aircraft carrier there. And that's been ongoing for a few months now. Again, we expect that to be wrapped up soon, and she'll be ready to go out on mission again. In the East China Sea, just a little south of where she's at, we have liaison officers of the Japanese Maritime Self-Defense Force prepare to depart the forward-deployed amphibious assault ship USS America. So they were visiting, but they were packing their bags and getting on the VTOLs to get out of there. Really cool picture. Take a look at this. Yeah. You can see all of them, a whole stack of them, getting ready to leave. Elements of the American Amphibious Ready Group, or ARG, which indicates the USS America, which includes the America, the Green Bay, and the Ashland, are underway in East China Sea right now. So the American ARG is in the Philippine Sea conducting exercise Noble Fusion. Noble Fusion demonstrates the Navy and Marine Corps forward-deployed stand-in naval expeditionary forces can rapidly aggregate the Marine Expeditionary Amphibious Ready Group teams. So we can work together with Japan and even other nations like the Philippines, very common. We've seen Vietnamese work with us. They may not be there right now, but they can. And so we can interoperate our militaries together. And we practice that all the time. And the reason is you want to have no hiccups in communication and flow, two-way communication in the battlefield, because the battlefield, as we see in places like Ukraine now, gets hectic really fast. And you want to have established communication procedures that everyone's already familiar with, so you don't add to that confusion. And so that's why we do these things like these exercises like Noble Fusion right now. In the Philippine Sea, we have Electrician's Mate Second Class William Phillips of Virginia Beach, Virginia, conducts maintenance on one of the elevators aboard the Nimitz class aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln. And here he is. Let's see what he's got his hands on. That might be, this is obviously a rail here. I'm not sure what he's doing with it. His hand's covering up what he's doing. He could be operating a hydraulic tree, but no, that's an electrical system, because that's an electrical wire going to it. So maybe he's just operating the elevator. So Carrier Strike Group 3 is Interior Communications Electrician Seaman Daniel Scoville of New York establishes communications with Damage Control Central utilizing sound-powered phones. These sound-powered phones have been in the Navy for decades, like pre-World War II, because they're durable and they work. They don't require any external power source. Your voice, as you speak into it, provides the energy to energize the circuit. Sound-powered phones. It's great. And they still use them today. I imagine the Navy will be using these, long into the future, because they're reliable, they're durable, and especially during a damage control, exercise, or in the case of real damage, you may not have electricity to power a lot of other systems, but your sound-powered system, as long as you can speak into it, will always work. And so that's what he's doing here, doing a damage control drill. The carrier, this is USS Abraham Lincoln, homeported in San Diego, California. We have aviation's mate, third class Christian Hill from West Virginia, assigned to the Black Aces. Looks like he's hand washing the Super Hornet. Yeah, these multi-million-dollar aircraft get a lot of maintenance for every hour they're in the air. They get a lot of hands-on love and care from the dedicated crews. And the crews don't get enough credit, so let's give them some now by saying, you know, it takes dozens of men and women like the young man here to do what they do so that our pilots can get, you know, the glory of flying these planes around for hours at a time and conducting their missions too. So they're not always up there joyriding, even though I'm sure it's a lot of fun. A friend of mine in the FAA said, if you're having fun in an airplane, you're probably breaking a rule or something. You're not supposed to be having fun in your airplane, but we all know. So stationed with the carrier group, the Abraham Lincoln, is the Carrier Air Wing 9, and we've gone over these before, but we'll briefly mention their names. The Black Aces, the Top Hatters, the Vigilantes, and the Black Knights, the Wizards, the Wall Bangers, which people in chat got a kick out of that one. I don't know why. What is about Wall Bangers? The Titans, the Chargers, and the Raptors. That's right. They're all deployed with the Abraham Lincoln right now. So cruisers that are protecting the Lincoln, we have Seaman Zachary Elias from Alabama. Observes flight operations on board a Ticonderoga-class USS Mobile Bay. Oh, one of the ones that's going to be decommed here in a few short weeks. Unless they've changed the date. I know some of the dates got pushed back on the decoms, so I don't know if this is one of those. But imagine being a young man graduating high school in Alabama, and within a year or two, you know, you're halfway around the world watching air operations on board one of the most sophisticated cruisers in the world. It's quite a culture shock, and one of the reasons why I stayed in the Navy was because I loved being on nuclear-powered submarines in my case. All right, here's the Destroyer Squadron 21, also protecting the carrier group. Sailors form the shape 111 on the flight deck of the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Spruance, because it's DDG 111. Very clever there. So here we have the crew. I don't know who's driving the ship. I hope they left somebody at the helm. Oh, man. But there they are, 111. Nice, beautiful ship. Could use a little love up in the bow there, but hey, these guys are at sea, so the ships are supposed to have a little wear and tear because they're out there doing the work. So assigned with the carrier strike group is the Fitzgerald, the Gridley, the Sampson, and the Spruance, as we see here in the picture. Over in the Ionian Sea, we're moving over to the Mediterranean now. We see the French Raphael F3R flies over the flight deck of the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman. That is interesting. I wonder if they were just practicing, or I don't know. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe they're just put on an air show. Usually if they're just putting on an air show for the crew, for morale, they don't fly right over the air deck like that. So maybe they're practicing maybe flight operations that may happen in the future. Who knows? Oh, here we have a beautiful picture of the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle. This thing is gorgeous. Look at the French build nice ships. You got to admit, that is a sharp looking aircraft carrier. This one has the catapults on it, so they can catapult their Raphaels off just like we do our airplanes on our carriers. Beautiful ship. All right, here we have the Harry S. Truman, based out of Norfolk, but currently stationed on deployment over there in the Ionian Sea. Got a couple of damage control people all suited up. This guy's probably very warm in that steam suit. And a couple of guys with him. This guy here, he's at the helm here. So we saw these guys in action just a few short weeks ago whenever the F-35 had a tail strike as it came in for a landing and spilled fuel all over the flight deck as it crashed into the sea. And these guys on that aircraft carrier had no hesitation, drove these little vehicles that are firefighting vehicles right into the flight deck, washing down the fuel, washing the fuel overboard. So if it did ignite, it wouldn't ignite on board the ship. They did a great job. That's what these guys do. I know they appeared to be kind of laid back because they've been sitting here for hours, but they pay attention to everything that's going on in the flight deck. And we've seen recently how quick their reaction time is. So big kudos to all the damage control men, the crash teams on board the flight deck. They do a great job. And here they're watching a Greyhound, which is this ship here. The Greyhound is kind of a unique airplane that takes off and lands on aircraft carriers. Not only do they move personnel, but they also do a lot of supplies. And so these are like little cargo planes that operate on aircraft carrier decks. They're called Greyhounds. And they're vital. They're absolutely vital to keeping our ships at sea for long periods of time because of the logistics operations that they do. So big hats off to the Rawhides, who is the Fleet Logistics Support Squadron 40. And deployed with the Truman are the Red Rippers. These are all part of Air Carrier Wing 1. Red Rippers, Fighting Checkmates, the Blue Blasters, the Sunliners, the Rooks, the Seahawks, the Rawhides, the Dragon Slayers, and the Proud Warriors, all operating with them. And here, another great shot of some of the logistical operations that go on. You can see the flight deck is just full of forklifts and, crates. Just absolutely very, very busy flight deck right now. It's not always flight operations. It's not always fancy Top Gun stuff to keep these ships at sea. And I love showing you pictures like this just to share how complicated it is to keep these ships at sea for months at a time. Yeah. And that is the Harry S. Truman that we just showed you. Here, along with Harry S. Truman, is CG-56. This is another Ticonderoga. This is the captain of the Ticonderoga conducting his required visual inspection of fuel that's being brought on board his ship. The captain is responsible for anything that happens to his ship. So a smart captain will visually inspect a fuel sample before he takes it on board. I believe it's required, but even if it wasn't, it's a good idea to do. And here is a picture of Commander Kaiser. He's the commanding officer on board an Arleigh Burke guided cruiser, USS Jason Dunham, DDG-109, inspects a sample of JP-5 fuel during replenishment at sea with a Lewis and Clark dry cargo ship. So what they'll do is they'll take a sample of the fuel that's actually coming through the lines, and before they take the full complement on board, the captain has to give his thumbs up that there's no particulate matter floating around in there. It looks like clean fuel. The green tint, I couldn't tell you why it's green. Maybe it makes it easier to see. I don't know. But there you go. Maybe if somebody knows why it's colored green, why they add that color to it, let us know in the chat, because I would like to know. I find that's interesting. I always thought JP-5 looked like diesel fuel. Apparently, no, looks like something out of a Superman comic. All right, and with them are the other Squadron 28, based out of Norfolk, is the Cole, the Bainbridge, the Gravely, the Jason Dunham that we just saw the captain of, the Gonzales, and the Royal Norwegian Navy is with us too. The Nansen is deployed with our Harry S. Truman there in the Ionian Sea. All right, we're moving over to the Western Atlantic. This is where a lot of the training and the workups happen. Here we have Rear Admiral John Meyer, commander of the Naval Air Force Atlantic Right, directs the aircraft as the landing signals officer on board George H.W. Bush. Wow, so this is really something. So this is one of the most senior officers in the Navy, obviously an airman himself, conducting landing operations. He's actually directing the plane, the pilot telling him if he's on the flight path or not as he's trying to make a trap on board the aircraft carrier. And I tell you what, if that admiral tells you to wave off, you had better wave off. But this looks like a really good approach, just judging from the still here. Tail down, gear down. I mean, he looks like he's right on path, and he's not waving his arms up in the air, so it looks like he's not giving him the wave off signal. But look at that. Even the admiral getting their hands dirty, doing some flight ops. Good for them. Here's a really nice shot of one of our FA-18 Super Hornets. The crew there is doing a hand wash down. I'm telling you, these planes, they're pampered and they're cared for so good. And that's how they last as long as they do. I mean, the F-18's been around for decades. You can't imagine how many flight hours this one probably has. And the reason is they take really good care of them. So big shout out to all the crews, the flight crews that keep the pilots in the air. So this is the George H.W. Bush. They're doing a workup. Typically, they'll go out, they'll do a workup for up to a month, could be longer, and then they'll go back to port, resupply, get everything geared up. If there's any deficiencies that came out during their workup at sea, they'll fix those, and then it's on to deployment. So we will see the George H.W. Bush go on deployment shortly. Yeah, I'll say within a month, but we really don't know, and I should not speculate because we don't want to give away operational problems. Okay, so Carrier Air Wing 1 is based out of Oceana, Virginia, and they have the Pumpkin Dogs, Jolly Rogers, the Sidewinders, the Dark Knights, the Patriots. These are all the air squadrons that are going to go underway with them. The Blue Tails, the Rawhides, the Patriots, if I didn't mention them, the Night Droppers, and the Grand Masters. And here they are, ships with the George H.W. Carrier Strike Group in the Atlantic, conducting training or workup operations. So that's an Arleigh Burke. Looks like 2 Arleigh Burkes, and those might be Arleigh Burkes back there. They're kind of small for me to see, but definitely some Burkes here. Each one of these Burkes, you can think of them as a modern day battleship. They are that capable, and there's 4 of them protecting this carrier. This carrier is very well protected. All right, let's go to the Eastern Pacific, where we have more training operations. Another fleet is getting ready. Very, very busy time in the United States Navy. Here we have Destroyer Squadron 26. Oh, that was this picture here. Let's go down to the Eastern Pacific, where we have an MH-60 helicopter Sea Combat Squadron flies over the Pacific Ocean. The Nimitz is underway conducting routine operations as part of this picture here. USS Nimitz is operating off Southern California. Again, conducting routine operations, but I'm here to tell you that they're testing something, practicing. Maybe they're just running spills and drills, but they're getting ready. They're training at sea, and they'll be the next in the breach. They'll be the next to be sent overseas. There's a lot more going on in the Navy than just what I show you here. There's a lot of things that we're not allowed to talk about. If you notice in all of these, we don't talk about submarine deployments, and we never will. But know that we have a lot happening that also goes unseen right now. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you leave a like and leave a comment below. If you know what that JP5 being dyed green is all about, I really would like you to tell me in the comments. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Bye-bye.